最近おじいちゃんいるから違うけど久しぶりにバイブスあげてこう嬉しそうできるスイカ
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Castaway Anime Podcast. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And don't oh-sheet your pants, we're talking Oshi no Ko today. So grab a drink, kick back and listen up, cause this might take a while.
Neon, you said this was your best intro.
And I stand by it.
That was awful.
Come on. We gotta give the people only the highest tier, S tier material.
You know, fair, this is around the usual quality of the Castaway Anime Podcast. We are not misleading anyone, unlike the show where the characters are constantly lying. And lies are a major theme of the show.
Crunchy,
there
we talked about Rent a
in.
Girlfriend last week.
I mean, hey, it's not my fault that both shows have a lot to do with lying and the well, Rent a Girlfriend isn't about the nature of fiction, but yeah, just lying. Although one of them is arguably ironically funny, and the other is actually good.
Yeah, no,
and it's Rent a
that.
Girlfriend.
Yeah, of course. No, but unlike that piece of shit Rent a Girlfriend, this show actually has qualities worth talking about and discussing, so let's do that. And remember, if you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to hit the like button, head on down to the comments to let us know what you think of the show, and finally, subscribe to the channel for more episodes of Castaway Anime and other videos.
Pieyon-san, ビシッと言ってやってください所詮ネットってインパクト勝負っていうか僕年収1億だよ舐めた口聞いてすんませんでした
Yeah, so I'm gonna be real with you, Neon. About half of the time spent doing so half of my input to this episode of the podcast will be episodes 2 through 5, and the other half will be episode 6.
Yeah, okay. It was a banger.
I'll
give you that.
a lot to say about episode 6. To be fair, it might just be recency bias because I watched it less than an hour ago, and
I mean,
so
same.
did you. Yeah, literally like a little over an hour after the episode had aired.
Yeah, this
And
show's
so-
taken the entire anime community by storm. It's trending every week. It's Oshi no Ko Wednesday all up in here. It's an event.
Yeah, it is, I think, still the most watched show of the season by far. And at one point, it was super high on Mal. Did it ever beat
I
FMAB
think
Brotherhood?
it did beat Brotherhood for a time, and it's still sitting above a 9 average on Mal. I don't think it's at number 1 anymore. I think it's like number 2.
Here, I'm gonna check actually. So it has a 9.03 ranked 11, and it is 88% on AniList. So it's that kind of show. Your Erased, your Owari Monogatari Season 2s, your Steins Gate Zero wasn't that super high for a time. It's one of those shows.
And the first episode in particular, that got the community, including us, are right talking.
I mean, yeah, the first episode is essentially, I guess, I don't want to say manufactured because then it sounds cynical, but you know what, yeah, I guess I'll say manufactured to drive as much hype into the show as possible. It's essentially a movie, not even really. It's the length of 4 TV anime episodes wrapped into one. It tells the entire story of the first volume of the manga. And it's, you know, it has all the basic plot points you need to know going forward for the show.
And it was, hey, the credit to them, as cynical as it may you could call it, it worked. It was a
I don't think
successful
it's
marketing
cynical.
stunt. I don't think so
Yeah,
either.
like,
I'm just saying, even if we were to think it's such, this is definitely a directorial choice, and it was both good for the show for its pacing, in my opinion, and good for its marketing in general, because, man, all of that just episode 1.
You know what? Maybe, like, I was of the opinion in the podcast that it should have been split into 4 episodes, but as a marketing stunt, I do respect it a lot. And I'm like, you know, I guess if this is what it means to drive as much attention to the show as possible, maybe it's for the best. I still do kind of want the Bakemonogatari effect of looking at a show and being like, yeah, it has 15 episodes. That's weird. I want to watch it. But, it. Although, to be fair, starting a show with a straight-up movie is also weird, so I can respect the grind set.
And the show has not dipped in quality at all, at least in my opinion, going from episode 1 all the way up to episode 6 that we're covering today.
Up until episode 6, I still think episode 1, to be fair, episode 1 inherently has an edge over every other episode because it is a movie. And so you can tell, like, an entire
that the production
arc.
values that the production of the show has not quite peaked as high and as often as the first episode. But given to where we are now, I would say the production is still of a higher quality, a higher caliber than your average piece of shit seasonal.
I'm not sure if I mentioned this at all in the podcast, but I was a little leery about how this show would look the entire time, because I know too much about Doga Kobo and how the anime industry works, and I know that episode 1s tend to be very flashy, and especially so if you're making it a straight-up movie. Like, there's nothing that screams "look at me" more than making an hour-and-a-half long first episode. However long it was, I don't know. I think
it was borderline. 80 minutes. It was like 82 minutes.
All right. And there was a part of me that was like, how good is the rest of the show gonna look? And there was one shot that I screenshotted that I think looked outright bad, and then the rest of the show looks reasonably consistent and good, considering, like even compared to the first episode, which does have its flashiest moments. Obviously, it's a marketing stunt. It's going to be the best looking episode of the show, more than likely, but it has reasonably lived up to the expectations to where, aside from that one shot that I thought looked bad, it looks good, and I'm not disappointed
which shot
with
are you talking about?
Here, I'll straight up just send it to you. But it's the shot of...
Oh, great, Adatron's gotta put it in the podcast.
Yeah, good, I'm adding more work to you because I hate you. There you go. I think the shot looks like ass. The compositing is awful. The characters do not look like they belong in the background. I think it's straight up just a real-life image of a bar. Whatever it is about this shot, it just looks uncanny. It is straight in Uncanny Valley. Otherwise, I thought it looked great. I need to keep on reiterating that.
I don't know, dog. It looks like a depth of field thing to me. It doesn't look spectacular. I don't know if I would call it bad
to me. I would call it bad. I think it looks bad. If it's a depth of field thing, then they did it wrong. Well, maybe not wrong, but not well. The end product did not look good.
Well, let's see. They teach their own, I guess. Hey, if that's the worst looking shot in this whole show, then
you can get so much worse than this. Like, you can be Tamayomi. No, you don't want to be Tamayomi.
What was Tamayomi again?
That baseball show with all the girls that released it. The only thing it's known for is that it sent an unfinished episode to Funimation.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. And so it, like, the actual show looks terrible, but the version they sent to Funimation was, like, omega scuffed. Like, downright horrendous.
Well, damn, I have to look that up later then, but right now it's time to talk about...
it's so funny.
It's time to talk about how the show has picked up since the first episode. How well is this show faring without its beloved faux star Ai?
I think it's faring relatively well. I will say my main issue with the show so far is that my investment is severely imbalanced, and I'm not sure if you feel the same way, right? It's never a boring show, but when I'm watching Aquamarine doing aqua things, he's, trying to get through the acting industry in order to get DNA of Ai's killer, in order to, find out, hey, am I related to him? Is this my dad? okay, he's my dad, I'm gonna get my revenge, that sort of plot. And when I'm watching that, I'm like, ah, yes, let's go. I'm super excited to see where this goes. And when it's Ruby and later on Kana forming an idol group, I'm like, okay, so this is like fine. I'm sitting in it. It's okay. But get me back to Aqua.
I do kind of feel the same way. I thought there would be a little more darkness to the show, a little bit more of a tinge of edge and angst with given how serious the first episode just kind of almost opens with a murder and then closes with a murder, especially of one of our main poster characters, who you'd think would be like pure marketing material to just be like, hey, here's a beloved mascot character who would sell merchandise out the ass. We're gonna kill her, so we can only use her as a plot device now. She has no more bearing on the show actively. But here we are.
Yeah. To be fair, it is really, I think a really cool idea to make someone who could totally be the protagonist of a show and then just yoink her and kill her and end it right there.
Yeah.
But
I was just gonna say that I do agree with your point to an extent. For a while, I was kind of feeling this around the end of episode 5, where outside of Aqua doing some, maybe some morally dubious things like sabotaging Ruby's idol endeavors and auditions to join an idol company in order to keep her safe, and then the rare yeah, words. Fuck. Aqua trying to be an actor and like bring his edgy evil A game to the acting for the TV drama manga thing that they're doing. It felt like it was good, don't get me wrong, but I was missing it. I thought the show, based on the first episode, was gonna be a more like into the dark side of the entertainment industry. It's all gonna be in the shady underground. Hey, this is some bad things, and I'm gonna trudge through it, and I'm gonna all in the name. Even if like there's hints in the show that characters drop sometimes, especially a line from Miyako, who's like, "Hey, that personality is gonna come back to bite you." It's like it sounds like this motherfucker's like willing to. I mean, he's already set on killing this guy, so I think he's already like set the second chance on life too. He's ready to throw it away in the name of revenge. So I'm expecting something a little darker. But then up until episode 6, it's been pretty tame compared to what we had in the first episode, at least.
See, going into the show after episode 1, you want to know what set my expectation? That one frame in the OP where it's Aqua doing some intense Googling. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be like a thriller show where Aqua is constantly like trying to find out new information that will help him, is sleuthing around, figuring out as much as possible, getting as much information rather as possible. It's kind of just him existing in the entertainment industry, but like with a bit of an edge. And admittedly also a lot of commentary about the nature of the entertainment industry. There is this idea that like, it's cutthroat, and oftentimes like, for example, one of the more cynical parts of the show is when Kana, this dude who keeps on hiring Kana, he says that, yeah, Kana's so easy to work with. She sucks up to everyone. She is kind. She is personable. She does what we need, and she already has a bit of a reputation, so she can drive people to the show. And Aqua, hearing that, because he's sleuthing around trying to get one of his cigarettes in order to DNA test it, he's just thinking to himself, well, he doesn't say this explicitly, but, he says like, oh, he doesn't value Kana's acting talent. Because at no point in his, compliments towards Kana did he say, yeah, she's such a good actor. Because he doesn't care about the quality of the acting per se. he cares about if they're hot and if they will drive people to the show, and cares about whether or not it is marketable. And Kana, on top of being easy to work with, is marketable, and that's what he values in her. And it's a very... The show is about some of the more cynical ways you can look at art. We haven't really gotten to this yet, but I have heard other people say, it's about how all art on some level is a lie. And, delivering like this artificial narrative to the audience. And there was a line in episode 6 that I'll probably get to later that did make me think, oh, we are heading in that direction. It's about... If I had to take a stab at what the show probably will be more about, it's Aka Akasaka's issues with arting, which I am down for.
It is interesting. I didn't realize this until I did a little research behind the show and Akasaka himself. I didn't realize that when he was done with the Kaguya manga earlier at the end of last year. I thought that he was just gonna retire just the manga, but keep being a mangaka. No, he's actually retired from drawing manga, and now he just wants to be a writer.
So basically, he's just like me for real.
I mean, Akasaka is absolutely self-inserting himself. The manga author for the TV drama that they're basing the manga on, I can't help but wonder. I want to pick his brain so bad. I'm dying to know what he thought of the live-action Kaguya movies.
Are they notoriously bad? Or do people
I watched the first one on a Delta flight because for some reason it had it. Delta for some reason has more than you might think, a surprising selection of Japanese movies on their flights. And I saw the Kaguya movie on one time, and I was like, fucking, why not? What else am I gonna do on a flight, right? And I watched it, and it was like a 4 out of 10. It was like pretty bad, not like offensive, just like what you'd expect a poor, lackluster live-action production of a comedy manga/anime to be.
Yeah, and so he's self-inserting himself into the fantasy where one actor changed things for the better.
I mean, hey, it did good enough. It probably, like, got the manga popular, so that helped it get more popular than it already was, so, That's why I want to pick his brain so bad. I want to know his, like, genuine, honest thoughts, because he writes in the story, like most manga authors are like, hey, just be happy that it's getting an adaptation at all, because it's like a sign of success, even if the show itself isn't good. And even the author in the story for this manga herself is like, I'm just glad that at least it's getting an adaptation of some kind. At least I get to see my story, my characters move.
Yeah, this show feels a lot like Akasaka. I guess. It seems like less like a thriller at this point and more like a commentary on like just some of the things that Akasaka has been thinking about his job and career path, and the nature of these industries, where it's like there's this constant sense of artificiality to the way the characters conduct themselves. They always need to be appealing to the public, like when Kana tells Ruby, hey, don't post your true thoughts about that product. They will name search you and you will not get a brand deal with them anymore. You will be ruining your chances. And so you shouldn't do that. You should instead just keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything about it. Hope you can get money from them in the future. And it's this sense of like, you need to conduct yourself in the proper way. So what you're
telling me is that we shouldn't make the fast food tier list we did in your server public, lest we lose our brand deal with Burger King in the future.
Well, hold on. Don't specify Burger King even. You're gonna... Man, oh man, do I love me some Burger King. I go there every day.
Oh man, when I feel like I need to purge my body of toxins after... to keep myself healthy, I'll just take one bite of a BK Whopper and there it all goes.
Yes, it's like a... One of those hot steam baths that you take to just cleanse
Oh,
yourself.
no, I was referring to how biting into one makes me throw up, so...
Yeah. Oh no,
hey,
no, don't say in Minecraft.
hey, Burger King, if you want to sponsor us in the future, stuff it.
But yeah, it's a perspective that I find interesting because I find it inherently difficult to be like that. I am stupid. Okay, well, me saying that is going to make it sound like I'm a serial pathological liar. But no, I am stupidly honest, much to my detriment. And sometimes I wish I could be less upfront with people and be like, oh yeah, maybe I should gain the skills to hide things from people. That might help me out in the future. No, I don't always have to say literally the exact thing that I feel. But right now, I am at the point where, typically if you ask me a question, I'll say just like the stupidly honest answer. But the characters in this show are not like that. They lie in order to stay in the entertainment industry because you need to be an agreeable person and on top of that, be a marketable person. In showbiz, you are, it's even said, you are the product. People are watching and they are, consuming the essence that is your acting abilities. It's you. You're out there. And so you need to be the most, you need to be completely marketable. You need to be loved by as many people as possible. But that goes against the very idea of having a personality. If I show my personality to the world, which I do very often, and maybe too much at times, but it's like, I'm inherently driving away a huge number of people. Because to have a personality is to be disliked by someone. Because, you can risk being offensive.
Yeah,
or
not
annoying.
everyone is compatible with everyone.
Yeah, but Hoshino is essentially about people who are forcing themselves to be compatible with everyone. And it's an interesting perspective. It's all about the lie, and I'm sure as we go on through the show, I'm so excited to see what new things Akasaka has to say on this subject, especially after episode 6, because after episode 6, it's like, I know he has so much to say about this topic. I know he has, I feel like the burning rage inside him and the need to get this off his chest. And so, I'm here for it.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying about how you have to, it's dangerous to be honest, and to even offer a personality is to invite yourself open to shutting out potential audience. When I market the podcast on Reddit to pull a bunch of anime fans in to get them watch it, like I'm doing right now, viewers of r/Oshino assuming the mods didn't take down the post for self-promotion if they have that stupid rule in effect.
God, I hate self-promotion rules. Off topic, but yeah, go on.
Hang on, no, I actually do want to rant about this for 30 seconds before I move on, because it happened in the Rent-A-Girlfriend, okay, I get, no self-promoting anything not related to the subreddit. I get that. I anyone self-promoting their fucking Let's Play channel in the Bleach Reddit, I get why you'd want to throw that away. But if someone makes video on, a Bleach video game, like a review of it, and they self-promote it in the Bleach subreddit, what's bad about that? It is, yeah, it's self-promotion, but it's also driving a conversation. Is that not the point of Reddit? To have conversations about the topic of the thing that you're in?
To be fair, we did steamroll their show. We did completely annihilate it.
I mean, yeah, we were kinder to Bleach. Rent-A-Girlfriend, it got deleted almost immediately. Well, actually, there's 2 Rent-A-Girlfriend subreddits for some reason. One that's the Japanese name, and one that's the English name. And it's still up in the English one, which is not as big as the one with the Japanese title. That one got deleted immediately, so I don't know why it's good for one, not good for the other, but that's a bigger can of worms that we won't go into. But yeah, so just posting the podcast to various subreddits, even when it comes to a seasonal show, or even a show that we dedicate a podcast to, but we don't like, or even if we do it in the sense that we want to give it an earnest shot, but we end up not liking it, or if we go out of our way to watch it because we want to hate watch something, like we did with Rent a Girlfriend and High Guardian Spice. The fact that I posted to those Reddits, even in the knowing that it's probably going to be met with a negative reception, because no one wants someone coming in their space of things that they're probably there to enjoy for, and then being like, hey, come watch this thing where we bash the thing that you like for
That's why I didn't
over an
post
hour.
the Suzume video to r/Shinkai.
I mean, well, you were positive. You were more positive on that movie than I was, and I shared it to the Suzume subreddit, and people were, well, they didn't comment on it much, but it was not like poorly received.
Oh dang, shocking! I guess I made up the difference because I gave it an 8, but because the Suzume video was like mostly negative content, I was like, I'm not sure how well received it'll be in this space. Especially the DIY one, though. The DIY, there was no way you were gonna get me to post that in r/DIY when they had such wholesome Yua fan art. And I'm just like, I have this thing that just completely ices the show. I don't think I have the heart to post this
You'd be
here.
swarmed with the go kill yourself gifs from the show.
Actually, you know what? Now that you've said that, that'd be so funny. I'm now more tempted to post it.
But to bring it all to a finer point, the reason that I continue to post it there is that it's still, at the end of the day, I would like to be marketed, and for a channel of our size, I think the cost of at least bring people in who might want to hear a negative take on their favorite show or whatever, currently outweighs the pro-con opportunity cost of not posting it there, not garnering their wrath or dislikes. Because hey man, dislikes and negative comments still help the engagement of the video and help do it better in the algorithm. So what have if any, from where I stand, we're losing on an audience and growth by not sharing it around.
And that is a fair point to make, and I do realize at times that I'm not amazing at marketing. Although I'm still better at it than you.
Wait, what was that supposed to mean? I posted all around the subreddits.
Yes, you'll call the Suzume cast who up, what is it?
Sealin' They Worm.
Sealin' They Worm, yeah.
It is a good title, Crunchy.
It's a good title, but no one was gonna click on that. But I digress.
It got good numbers.
How many views did it get?
I think it's like almost at 300 right now.
That was exactly.
Hey, we were I don't think we even had 200 subs at the time, man. It was.
We have 225. What are you talking about? We
don't
even have that many more than 200.
I was gonna say at the time that we didn't have 200 by the time it went up. I think. I don't remember
probably
exactly
190.
when we had 200.
We aren't that much bigger than when we posted it. God, we're getting so sidetracked.
Okay, well, to bring it back to another point, and like you were also mentioning the it's hard to market yourself as a personality, whereas interestingly enough, one of your Patreon rewards is that you'll just pay people to, or you'll have people pay you to rant about whatever they want within reason. So you are essentially offering yourself as the content, even beyond the nature of making videos about an anime that you watched. You are just straight up selling your opinions as content.
Yeah, there are essentially two ways to market yourself. You can either go broad or you can go niche. I'm going niche. The characters in Oshi are trying to go relatively broad, at least in terms of their own personality, it seems. They're trying to actively iron out the wrinkles, whereas I say, well, I can't. I know I can't be that artificial, so I'll just keep them in and deepen them. But even though I say that, even still, there is some level of, cleanliness to the main channel video. Well, yeah, also crossover, I guess, but they're like even my videos at times I listen back to them and I'm like, yeah, I really did clean it up to be as agreeable as possible. Whereas if I'm just off the cuff, I'll be a dick.
And I get also it's a matter of perspective at the end of the day, because yeah, like in terms of like the grand scheme of like anime YouTube, we're definitely both niche. This channel definitely more so than yours because so far it's just been a podcast channel, whereas you are more of a the standard ideal of what an anituber is. But hey, your Onimai video took you from relative obscurity to now. I mean,
I'm a micro celebrity.
Yeah, exactly, micro celebrity. You have your channel has over 5,000 subs at the time of recording, and it can only go up. Yeah, it's the video that I don't want to say put you on the I feel like putting you on the map would be.
That implies I'm on the map to begin with, which is in and of itself.
I mean, hey, a video that has what was that 300,000 views right now?
230,000, I think. Okay, probably.
All right, near 250,000 views is nothing to scoff at. There are AniTubers with sub counts like 20 times what you have. We're sitting at like 100,000. Who are jealous of that number, who wish that like every single one of their videos can be doing that kind of number, those kinds of numbers every video.
Here, let me rephrase it. The Onimai video is on the map. I am not. I would argue that I, as a content creator, am not.
I mean, hey man, having one video on the map that is better than having no videos on the map. And
true.
It wasn't your first taste of success. I think that would you can chalk that up to the Monogatari Call of the Night video.
Yeah.
And then the Onimai one's just what pushed you over the edge into, hey, this could be like a viable thing now.
Yes, it pushed me over the cliff, and now I'm falling.
Man, I thought I was just gonna be an author my whole life, but I have a backup plan now.
I mean, hey, I need the channel to market the books. So it works out.
Just like Ruby needs Pieyon to market the idol group. It all comes full circle, Crunchy.
Pieyon is. I'm split between finding him completely obnoxious and unbearable, yet simultaneously absolutely hilarious.
I love it. He's perfect. He is my idol. He is my goat.
Yeah, it's like I love the concept of him. This because he's. It doesn't even make sense how he's so popular.
It makes but like, how is his success like a mystery? He is popular with elementary schoolers and middle schoolers because he's like a chick, like baby chick masked bodybuilder.
I mean, yeah. I'm
what's
not
not
saying
to
it's
love?
Illogical. I'm just saying
illogical.
It's not what you would expect. I said it's not illogical.
Okay.
But I'm saying that. It's not what you would imagine as being popular. And yet when Arima Kana says, he's like talking about how lame he is, he just stands there and it's like, I make 100 million yen a month.
That
and Arima Kana's like, I'm sorry.
I fucking kneel. And he's like, that translates to like 700,000 plus a year, by the way.
God, I wish. I kneel to Pieyon as well. I am a Pieyon in the eyes of Pieyon.
I want to be a Pieyon. And then Pieyon hits Ruby and Kana. I know we're jumping around a bit, but we're on the topic, so we might as well. He hits him with the #1 way to gain subscribers. It's not to upload daily. It's not to have what was the other thing? Have an entertaining personality or something like that?
Let's see. Upload every day. Oh, already have pre-established success and a fan base to draw from.
Okay, yeah, like those are good too. Cough, cough. Castaway Anime, Crunchy Bagels, fan base. And it's incredible, like how based in the truth this is, because I've seen it happen from YouTubers that I watch who then go on to do the exact same thing to like their smaller YouTuber friends who then benefit greatly from it. Because the number one way to gain subscribers on YouTube that is not just to already have a pre-established fan base. It's not just to upload daily, though those things can help. No, the number one way to gain subscribers is to appear on someone else's channel. You hear that, Nate? Get us on the Gamer Zone, goddammit.
Someday, I could leverage my Onimai video and be like, hey, I drew in a crowd once. Well, who's to say it won't happen again?
Alright, Crunchy, if we catch up to the One Piece manga now, we'll have enough time to get on the
oh, yes, catch up now. Yeah, next week we'll be on, sure.
If we dedicate an entire month just reading all like 1,000+ chapters of One Piece, we can ask for a guest appearance on Talking Pirates, and then we can get him on the podcast finally. This is how we win, Crunchy.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay me a lot of money to catch up to One Piece in a month.
It's an investment, Crunchy. We gotta get the subs. we gotta leech off his fan base.
Speaking of that episode, there was one line that made me do a straight pog face, which is when Ruby says to the camera, "I don't want any lies." What could that mean? It means she's just like me for real. Literally the entire thing I was talking about, where I can't lie and have an artificial personality. Me and Ruby are synchronized on this point.
I definitely agree. I've made it even outside of just like a YouTube thing, even on an online presence on Twitter, I have made many now enemy is a strong word and that's exaggerating, but I have not exactly made friends with my personality online and how blunt and harsh I can be, to the point where, have I told you the story before, how for some reason I made a tweet about Demon Slayer, about the episode in season 2, I think, where what the fuck's her name, Nezuko unlocks her demon mode shonen transformation power up, where she like becomes more of a feral demon. And, like, for some reason I'm
getting, like, vague flashbacks to this tweet. Was it something about her tits grew?
Yeah, her tits grew. I was like, I don't, like, I forget the exact content of the tweet. I just made a joke about, like, how, okay, no, I don't remember word for it, but I remember what the point of the tweet was about. It was about, like, making fun of people, like, hey, don't sexualize Nezuko. She's, like, underage. And then her power up like increases her bust size for some reason, like it was some kind of like harem perv show, or like and like an ecchi anime. And I was like, and then I made the tweet being like, all right, where's I won't have to sexualize her, Demon Slayer fans. The show's doing it for me. The author's doing it for me.
What was the ratio?
For some, it was a pretty bad ratio for how big my account was at the time. However, it was mostly Spanish speakers ratioing me, and I was like, has my tweet left the target audience and demographic of people who would follow me? And then I found out by doing reverse searching online that my tweet got picked up in a like Spanish Yahoo article as like one of the as like a reactionary piece of people like reacting to the newest episode and Nezuko's transformation.
It's one of those articles. I've seen the ones, I've read the ones that just take the tweets completely bereft of any personality or context to say, people are so mad about this.
And yeah, keep in mind, this was I mean, I don't know how good the translation staff is over in Spanish Yahoo or whatever, but it was an English tweet that they took for a Spanish article. So, I like they were, the fact that they were willing to get not just Spanish speaker, like their Spanish audience for oh wait. Oh, fuck me. Shit. Yeah, Spanish speaking audience, they would get an English speaker's tweet for their article. I don't know. I just feel like it's just worth mentioning.
They had to scour to find.
I'll have put up
backlash.
The picture of the article on here the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is slightly off topic, but simultaneously on topic. Those articles are so pointless. People were mad about a show, wow, and then you can do that about any show. You can literally do that for any anime.
Yeah, you can do that about
everyone always has negative opinions about everything.
Yeah, hypothetically speaking, you can even do it about, like, I don't know, a reality dating show.
That's a nice segue. Yeah, so episode 6. Alright, I'm gonna be real with you. Episode 6 might be my favorite episode of anime this year.
This year? Goddamn.
It's...
I'm trying to think of any other way to counter that, but that would require me having an entire list of anime that I've seen in front of me this year. And winter was very barren, so...
I know you're probably not as big into this as I am, but the reason why, it's because having grown up with the online space, although granted you have too, but also, for the longest time I've tried to make it as a hood classic YouTuber. So these are the sorts of things I think about, and also the nature of the internet and how it... See, this episode basically just put a bunch of my thoughts that have been just stewing in my mind for the longest time out there, and I presume more of them will be commented on as Aka Akasaka, as we get to episode 7, because I think me and Akasaka are aligned on this topic. And are just as passionate about it, because the phrase cancel culture has been obviously maligned as of late, because most often nowadays it's some guy who said the Jews run the world being mad that people are exercising their right to free speech and saying that that's a bad thing to say, and accusing them of taking away their right to free speech even though they didn't do such a thing. What I really think the phrase speaks about, though, is this primal fear of being ostracized. Because if you think about biologically, humans have this need to be accepted, because if you're out in the wild and your tribe just says you're a piece of shit, we're dumping you and leaving you for the wolves to eat, well, then you're dead, you're screwed. You don't have an easy way to get food, or at least as easy of a way to get food. And so that's this sort of biological response where I haven't read the exact study, but apparently isolation and the feeling of people that everyone hates you is registers as more painful than physical pain to the brain. And I just think that's fascinating. And so because obviously, this applies doubly to me, because I'm someone who refuses to back down on my personality. And I have to contend with the fact that, someone could probably put together a list of things I've said in a giant Twitter thread right now. They could go onto my Discord server, find the old Discord servers I was in, and find all the worst things I've ever said, and probably some things I still agree with, and be like, yo, Crunchy Bagels, not good guy. You should dislike all his videos and not associate with him. And that tweet could probably get, assuming it reached the right people, could probably get a fair few likes, and a huge contingent of people would agree with it. And so my mindset has always been...
about all the times Neon Manga has tweeted the N-word or the F-slur or said it in a Discord server.
You're admitting it! You're admitting it!
It's okay. I've gone back and wiped all the ones that matter. All the ones in context.
I associate with people who are very cancelable. We both openly respect Nate, and, Nate's dredging it up from the fucking abyss and saying, hey guys, here's your new shit. And we're like, no. I know you brought that from 5 episodes ago. Put it back, you cheap bat. And then he went on to say some very kind-hearted things about some very
whatever you do not watch The Princess and the Frog Wiagawa.
I haven't even seen that. Hold on, I need to link it to me.
Actually, speaking of Nate, I actually was about to suggest that if you wanted to talk about, people being if you were in a tribe and you were told to exile, you're pretty much fucking dead. He actually Yeah, there's a Nate video you should watch. The High School of the Dead video that he made like for years back for the first Mia Mathova, where he pretty much talks about the exact same thing.
Hell yeah, that's probably gonna be fascinating. But what I'm, oh, you go on.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, to add on to the points, like there's definitely a side of it's very we gotta approach this like a fucking 2,000-foot pole because it's cancel culture. There is like a tinge of it where I feel like there's obviously not all of it is in earnest. Like for the shitter people, like like the closet pedophiles or the abusers or rapists and bad people like that. Yeah, they deserve it. But then there's like there's like a group of people who want to like take this ability to quote unquote cancel someone online just because they don't like them, and they'd feel not for like any personal reason, just like this content creator is annoying to me. It would be my life would be made not necessarily better, but it would be a net positive in my life if I never had to hear about this creator again, and them getting canceled would be a means to that end. Like one famous example I can think of is the OG Game Grumps with Aaron and John, yeah, Igor Raptor and Jontron. If you go back to old Game Grumps episodes, and you like, even though Aaron had specifically gone back and privated episodes of where they said words that were maybe acceptable on
Gamer
the internet
words.
at one point. Yeah, they had this heated gamer moments. That might have been acceptable in the atmosphere on the time, but not in current year. There is an entire video online on a channel, a pretty famous one. Whenever people want to link to about Aaron and John being, oh, well, what's so bad about these guys? And then they'll just link to a compilation of Aaron Hansen saying the N-word, or
go on.
I was just gonna say, or even like there's a time like Donkey saying the N-word. Like, hey, they said this racist word, so now they're horrible people.
Well, see, even there's that on the one hand, but you can get even more petty than that by like there was this one time when Dream, I don't particularly care for Dream, but there was this one moment that I completely disagree with him being canceled or whatever, where he said, drugs, ayo, turn that shit up, Charles. Because he was like, that's what people are saying my song is about. And people instantly said, whoa, that's pretty racist. Guess why people thought that was racist? Because if you hadn't explained it to me, like if there weren't tweets explaining why people thought it was racist, I would not be able to tell you with 1,000 guesses. But as it turns out, it's because people, he's saying it as if it's a song. People are like, oh yeah, rap talks about drugs sometimes. So he's saying that rap is bad. There are a lot of black rappers, so Dream is racist.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of mental gymnastics one has to one sometimes takes in order to get at a popular person. In the case of Dream specifically, there's like way worse things to get on him for that, but that's a whole other discussion.
Things that I severely disagree with him on, but that was it. Of all the things you could say Dream did wrong, that is not one of them. And you were saying it's just because people don't like a guy. I think it's even more core than that. Because what cancel culture, if you want to call it that, essentially is like this idea of power. That ordinary people can dictate the fate of people with online careers. And so what they think in their heads is, there's this phrase like holding people accountable. And sometimes it's a good thing, but other times it's people, I think, living out this idea in their heads that, oh, me and the people around me, are the arbiter of what flies, and we can end people's career on a whim, and that feels inherently good because it feels good to be powerful. But the thing about quote-unquote cancel culture is, unless you're a straight-up criminal, you are uncancelable. You know, Nate, you could throw up the most heinous, racist-sounding clips that Nate said in his past, where he was saying Arrow Manga Sensei made him racistly angry. But you can't, at the end of the day, make his core audience care, because his core audience just doesn't. You
so
don't
you can even
canceled.
say some of his core audience came for that specifically.
There you go. But you cannot get canceled. You cancel yourself. Because you will always have an audience of people who, unless you are a straight up foul criminal, will still support you no matter what opinion you hold. And you see this with people like Digibro. Like, how many times have people said, disavowed Digibro and been like, this guy needs to go? The reason why Digi actually went is just because people stopped liking Digi's content. It was nothing about his actual opinions on the world. Which may shock you, I know, considering how controversial some of it was. But it just goes to show that if you have a core audience that really cares about your content and the stuff you're doing, you're not gonna be able to get canceled.
Yeah,
and that does provide some reassurance to me.
To this day, there are people who I still see going to bat for Vic Mignogna, if you're familiar with that name.
I have no idea who that is.
Okay, long story short, because we don't want this to go turning off into another direction again. He is an English dub voice actor in anime, most famous for Edward Elric in Full Metal Alchemist and Broly in Dragon Ball. There was some... Granted, what everything I'm about to say is Alligator has not been proven in a court of law, to my knowledge. Please correct me in comments if I get the story wrong, but I don't think any of it was proven in a court of law that he was actually sexually assaulting or manipulating people or fans or anything like that. He got accused of it. There were some stuff that came out about it, so I don't think all of the claims were baseless, but he was arguing that some of it was blown way out of proportion, and there are people to this day who are claiming that he is they're at the end, I guess there's no other way to say it, they're dick riding him for someone who they are idolizing because I mean, regardless of the allegation, I think he's a good actor. But the whole point is that there are people who I see to this day. The case he's been I think distant from voice acting for years now, and there are people who are still going to bat for him because they like him that much. He hasn't been outright proven in the court of law with irrefutable evidence. It's undeniable that he may or may not have done those things. So as long as there's that plausible deniability and it's not absolute, there will still be an audience.
Yeah, the main thing that cancels people is the fear. What I was talking about earlier is the primal fear of everyone hating you and everyone. Because I don't think most people's brains are meant to process the amount of criticism that the internet has. I just don't think, most people are built for it. We're not. And that's why,
like you were saying yourself, we were designed from the beginning of human society to where humans came together to form societies that to exist in tribes and villages of at most 100 people, that we can the upward limits of what we're able to process and maintain relationships of. And to face scrutiny from all roughly 99 of those 100 people that you are one of, that would doom you. That you could do something stupid and get kicked out of the tribe, get exiled, and get killed because of it, because now you're on your own and you're not within the safety of the tribe. You've gone, your brain's going into full panic mode because now you're on your own from the criticism of 99 people. Now imagine it from 99 million people online.
And to me, even the Onimai video, I'm not going to say that I've ever been canceled. I will if I continue doing this long enough. It's inevitable. but I haven't yet. But even the Onimai comment section of having like so many, a few people accused me of being a straight up lolicon, baselessly, for no reason. And a lot of people disagreed with the point and got heated about it. And even that was a little overwhelming. It was like, I don't want to read these comments anymore. And so I stopped. Because the human mind can't process so much scrutiny of, what you've done and what you're doing. Like, that video has probably not thousands of comments, but like hundreds of comments. Maybe over 1,000. I have no idea at this point. But it had so many. And I ain't reading all that. Good for you, or sorry that happened, but I ain't reading all that. And
it has, as of the time of this recording, 1,305 comments.
Okay, yeah, so a little over 1,000. And that's after the one thread got deleted, so...
The legendary thread.
It used to be, this is my fault. But I guess what I'm getting at is, you can't really... Because the thing is, you can't expect everyone to agree with you or be kind all the time. People have the right to express their opinions about things. So you need to find some way to cope with the idea that, hey, like, entire cities of people are going to hate your guts, inevitably, if you're online long enough. And I think the internet sort of inherently breeds perfectionism, because as the episode that I'm finally getting to at long last, episode 6, it's called ego surfing, because there's this instant, the episode is about the instancy, like how instantaneous the nature of the internet is. You can do a thing and then immediately people are talking about that thing and giving their opinions about that things. And when it's ego surfing, it's people saying good things about the things you just did. And it feels nice. It's instant gratification. But when it's bad, because normally, back in the day before the internet, like, normal people didn't have to really deal with that outside of their immediate circle of friends. And, even celebrities to a certain extent, although they still would go through the ringer, I'm sure, it at least wouldn't be so instant. It wouldn't be right there at your fingertips 24/7. You'd have to wait a while to see the sales receptions. You would have to, choose to view the reviews of your movie. And it would take a while for them to come out anyway. But with the internet, everyone has a voice, and you're constantly seeing those voices. And what I think it's done to this generation is make people terminally afraid of putting themselves out there completely. The internet breeds social masking, because to put on airs and to be a false version of yourself without any wrinkles means that you don't have to go through the possibility, however slim, of someone shit-talking you, then people retweet that, and all of a sudden the stupid thing you did is out everywhere. And I think as the internet goes on more and more, we will see more and more how this affects people and how this changes the way we interact with people online. Because potentially anything you do can be, posted to some shitty gimmick account on Twitter saying that you took an L, and all of a sudden you get like hundreds of people saying, wow, this guy's an idiot. And I think that is like even the core of my struggle with the internet right now.
Yeah, even on it's so easy to like have your mood when you're a creator dictated by the internet, because it's incredible what like 10 positive comments of being like, whoa, this video was really entertaining, or wow, this podcast was really enlightening and really fun to listen to. You did a good job, keep it up. And like how all of that can be undone by just one, wow, this is a piece of shit video and you suck as a creator, you should quit. Like, kind of comments can do to you.
Yeah, the human mind tends to fixate on the negatives. But you can also just be like me and slowly stop caring about comments whatsoever. I hate YouTube comments now. The Only My Video ruins them for
Gets
me.
accused of being a lolicon once.
Twice, actually, that I read, but...
Well, I was talking in the case of like instances of the video, but
yeah.
I love the line that Kana has about ego surfing in the episode, we're in the great era of ego surfing. The age of being told to dismiss what people say online is over. We now have a society where those who neglect online marketing get left behind. Which is why you should subscribe to the channel, follow us on both of our Twitters, linked in the description.
You had to put it in there. I mean, hey, it's a good idea. You should subscribe. We will, our channel will give you a girlfriend. And will improve your life and your looks.
Your penis will grow 2 inches.
Exactly.
Or your vagina will be able to take in 2 more inches of girth.
Precisely. So the episode is about this girl named Akane. In the prior episode, she has like one of the plainest designs of the of all the characters who seem like they're important. She has probably the plainest design.
And
she's a girl with it was done on purpose, and I like it. I'm saying good things about her design. Like when because there is like the tweet criticizing her design, and when I first saw the tweet, I was like, you know what? It is a bit of a plain and boring design. And then Ijo was telling me, no, it makes sense in the context of the show, and I was like, okay, man. Then I watched the episode, and I was like,
Jan.
it does make sense in the context of the episode. Wow, I'm glad she's like that now. I do like her design on that level. And she's like, the entire hang-up she has at the beginning of the episode is that she does not stand out. Her, like, talent agency or whatever, her manager, is talking about how, like, bro, she's on this big dating show, and everyone should be talking about her. No one's talking about her. She's blending into the background, and everyone's making tweets about how they don't care about her. This is bad, man. And she overhears that conversation, and so she takes on the bad girl role of the show, where she's trying to, just cause a scene, ruffle some feathers, become the villain.
Yeah, get in the way of the OTP of the show that like all the fans are so like clearly in love with based on their audience reaction. Because she's like, well, at this point, is it better that I go down as a villain and leave my mark in history, or do nothing and fade into the background of obscurity?
And the thing is, you can, like, if she was a charming enough villain, people would be able to, like, enjoy her character and enjoy who she is. But at the same time, because it's a reality dating show, there is always this sort of, the question of whether or not anything is real is always up for interpretation. And people can always make the argument that what happened was authentic. And so inherently, being the villain poses way more of a risk to her career than in, let's say, an acting role that isn't a reality show. Like in a film, rather. Like Aqua does in, episodes 3 and 4. That obviously didn't negatively affect his reputation. People liked his role, but that's all a movie. It's not a reality show. If there was the potential of it being real, it would come off very differently, obviously. And what happens is Akane, she's trying to, be the bad girl who's like taken the man from the OTP. She runs up to her and she's like waving her hands around in like this scene to try and capture the attention of the audience and be, all eyes on her. And she accidentally, the fingernail, because she has nails on that the girl of the OTP put on her in a case of irony. Dramatic irony that also probably didn't go over viewers' head watching the actual show in the context of the universe. And she cuts the face of this girl. And
her name is
from
Yuki,
that
by
point
the way.
forward. Yuki?
Yeah.
Okay. So she cuts Yuki's face.
Yeah, what I loved about that is that like right before this scene, Yuki is the one, like you mentioned, is doing Akane's nails, and they're having this little talk about how Akane is feeling down because she's I'm in the background of the show, I'm not standing out, I'm not my agency's kind of getting me on it for it. But then Yuki's like, hey, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. It's tough to stand out, but I'm gonna be real with you, even though like I'm treating you like my friend. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I stand out even at the expense, even if that means you don't stand out because of that. Like, don't take it personally, bro. It's just show business. And so you get, when Akane accidentally slaps her and cuts her with the rhinestone that Yuki placed on her nail, you think Yuki's gonna like flip out towards her and like that's gonna cause her like the destruction of Akane's career. But in a twist I actually didn't see coming, Yuki is actually incredibly understanding and kind towards Akane, who's which is like, oh, yeah, don't worry about the cut on my face. Photoshop can take care of this easily. Even she's a model, by the way. I've got a magazine shoot tomorrow. Don't worry. Photo editing will make this like not even be there. Don't even worry about it. And she's like comforting Akane, who's like real like apologetic and guilty that she did this thing. And she's like, hey, you know what? The cameras aren't rolling right now because we're in between shots. I'm not acting right now. You're being pressed to do something uncomfortable because you want to stand out. I get it. I'll offer you this this hug of sympathy. Like, there's no bad blood between us, okay? And she means it. There is absolutely no ill will that she harbors towards Yuki at all. But the internet does, cause hashtag Akane is over party. she cut the beloved face of the main OTP girl, and now the world has turned on her ass, and rightfully so. How dare she?
See, I love that Yuki isn't the one getting mad at her, because it places all of the mental torment on the internet as a whole and the criticism she's facing, which I think makes it like such just a pure exploration of, hey, this is the age we live in now, and this is what it does to people. You know, how do we cope with this? She is like, because Akane is like the worst possible type of personality that you could imagine being in showbiz. Not literally the worst, but one of the worst, because she's so
one
like,
of the.
She
I think,
takes
yeah, the word
everyone's
ill-fitting,
criticism,
like unprepared,
because her mindset is, if someone gives me criticism, okay, they probably know something I don't, so I need to take it seriously.
Yeah, she's
Spoiler
constantly
alert.
taking notes and asking like people's advice on what she should be doing better or differently.
Yeah, she's like so serious about it. And spoiler alert, people on average aren't that smart. They'll criticize you for dumb things that you already thought of while making the thing and doing the thing you're doing. They're not, most of it isn't all that relevant to you.
Yeah, the number one
worse, yeah.
The number one thing that I always tell people who are like think about like putting themselves out there online is that you have to you have to have thicker skin. If you even think for a fleeting moment that you can allow criticism to get to you, you are probably not cut out for trying to make it big online.
See, I'm the type of person who criticism inherently affects. And so I'm, slowly coming to grips with it and being like, okay, don't read the comments. Just look at the like ratio and only care if it's under 90. Or if it's a negative video, under 80. Only start caring then, because most of the people who criticize my things, they're wrong. Their points are bad. But
I'm right, they're wrong. That's just the way the world works. It can't possibly be me. I cannot possibly be the problem.
I'm never the problem. But, I'm the type of personality who, like Akane, will inherently think, what do they know that I don't? Nothing! They don't know anything that you don't. They probably know less than... You made a video about it, and she's an actor. She knows what happens behind the scenes. She can't talk about the fact that it was an accident because it's part of the narrative of the show. She inherently knows more about the situation than they do. They're all wrong.
How tilted were you when you saw the thumbnail for, like, the fictional video? Yeah, the fictional YouTube video that someone made.
I love it. I love it.
Almost like a Rev Says Desu type of thumbnail.
It is. Akane versus Yuki, and it's like she has like this mean face on in the thumbnail because she's trying to be the mean girl. It's so great. I love that they added that.
Yeah,
so
dude, like
perfect.
the editing in this episode particularly is probably even better than the editing in the first episode. because I was actually genuinely taken off guard by the barrage of tweets accompanied with like just the most harsh white noise that keeps getting louder and louder till it becomes almost actually unbearable to listen to.
Yeah, I had to turn down my audio when that started playing because I was like, "Oh, that is loud."
Like, oh, that's loud. That is stressful. That is probably what it feels like in your head when you get if that were to happen to you in real life.
And the thing is, I'm willing to bet that I'm not even willing to bet. I know that Akasaka is talking about an experience that he has gone through probably multiple times. Now, I know how people feel about the later chapters of Kaguya. I know it gets a little more divisive than the first many arcs of it, and that the final arc is where people even will go so far as to say it should have stopped here. And I know that Akasaka is probably, talking about experiences like that, where people are en masse talking about, hey, you messed up. You did a bad thing. This is no good, very bad. And, Akasaka probably in his head is like, well, I know what I'm doing. I know what my message is. Who are you to criticize this thing I'm doing? And sometimes it do be like that, where, I think, well, who are you to say that? I know what went into the video. I know what point I was making. You just don't get it because you're stupid, dumb. But that's what you inherently have to deal with if you're going to make art or do specifically for this show, it is art. People are contributing to a creative process, and
everyone's a critic.
Yeah, everyone is a critic, and you can hear everyone's voice now that we're in the age of the internet. And the reason why I love this episode so much, and why it's probably my favorite episode of anime, is because this is something I think about like every day. Like this is the thing that I am trying to get over to not be like. Because at the end of the episode, it drives her to.
This is the thing I'm trying to get over and not be like suicidal.
Yeah, suicide. There we go. Like this scene, it's like the amount of dread I felt when I knew what was about to happen. Her silhouette is like against this harsh yellow lighting.
Hey, don't go out. It's a typhoon. When she just goes out to stand on top of a highway bridge.
Yeah, she's literally like she's fallen like right before that sequence. I love that too because she's on the ground, just looking, sort of spacing out while looking at the floor. She has literally lost the willpower to keep on walking because she. And another thing is like when she wakes up and immediately like she's like, okay, after a good night's rest, I'll forget about all this. And she wakes up and she just monologues. That was never going to happen.
It's not. It didn't go away.
I've had, not necessarily because of online criticism, but like the potential of facing online criticism because I was wrong about something. That's really what my hang up is for the most part, where I can't stand to be wrong about anything. And for the most part, I'm not wrong. I'm right. I'm right all the time.
You hear that, ladies? Right. If you want to get in a relationship with Mr. Crunchy Bagels of YouTube fame, be prepared to make everything will be your fault. It can never be his.
There we go. But, sometimes, like, I'll look at my scripts and be like, oh, that's a straight up error. That is, like, a factual error in my script. And then I'll get terrified because it's like, well, what if that was in the final product? And I have had to issue one correction in my YouTube career thus far. If we talk about the new stuff, the old stuff is all wrong, and I hate it. But of the new videos, there's one correction I made, and I was like, this feels awful. I hate this.
I have to grow as a person. I made a mistake. Ugh.
Yeah. But that's how it feels, where you wake up and it's like, oh yeah, I have to deal with the possibility of being wrong again. Whoops, that's gonna suck. And so I saw the scene was like, just like me for real. Maybe not exactly like me, but it's the same core hang-up. How do you deal with that? And she can't deal with it and tries to jump off a bridge and is only saved because Aquamarine happens to be passing by and grabs her back and is like, no, stop doing this. Don't.
And she's like, no, let me go. I can't deal anymore.
this is the messed thing. I'm more invested in this arc than, first of all, any other arc in the show, but secondly, more than Ruby and Kana's thing at by far.
Well, to be
And
fair,
they've had
there's a human life at stake with
yeah, to be fair,
with
there's more at
Akane's
stake.
thing.
But I think it still hammers home how much I don't care about Ruby and Kana's thing. Just sort of hammers that home. But yeah, you are right in that this has the highest stakes thus far. Well, maybe not the highest of all, because people do die in the first episode. But, like post episode 1, this is the highest stakes we've had so far. And the first real dark thing to show, hey, this is what showbiz and making art can be like. And how do we make it not like that?
Yeah, this is the kind of content I thought the show was going to be more about more often of the time. I guess if it's going to allow for really great, incredibly directed episodes and produced episodes like these, then I guess I shan't complain that this kind of content only shows up every now and again. Maybe it would be worse for the show overall if it was more frequent. But I definitely do appreciate when the show is going back to this kind of content, and I can only hope that the Ruby and Kana idol group subplot blossoms into something similar to this, because it seems like Ruby wants to take the goal of when she says, "I want to do this without any lies," when she's, because that's the complete opposite perception of who ironically who Ruby probably idolized the most, even more so than Aqua, who understood I think, well, I guess that's not exactly fair to say that Ruby doesn't understand that idol culture is full of lies as well, but it's fascinating to see Sarina, who is so gung-ho about following in her mom's footsteps and becoming an idol, is so dead set on doing it almost the least idol way possible. At least if we're going by Ai's ideology on the subject.
So what you're saying is that she's Hoshino after dark.
I guess.
And I think that's about all I have to say.
We skipped over a lot of things in this arc, in this podcast, because not because it was not as interesting, although maybe it was exactly because of that. Not to say that the show is not interesting on a whole. The show is very good so far.
I mean, even before episode 6, obviously I was lying to Schizo in my Discord server, but now even before that I was saying in hidden messages, this is the best anime of the season in my opinion. And then episode 6 happens and it's okay, I don't think this could be
anime of the year.
Yeah, maybe. I'd say like so far most of the episodes have been an 8 out of 10, just very solid entertainment. Episode 6 is obviously a 10 out of 10, no doubts about it. So I guess we have yet to see what the show as a whole will be. But I'm looking forward to it, and I think episode 7 and the immediate continuation of what's happening with Akane will be very interesting. I'm hugely invested in that arc. I love Akane. She's my favorite character so far. I know I'm not I don't think that's a hugely popular take even at this stage of the story, but I like her because it's something I inherently find interesting and relatable.
Her story is definitely the most interesting so far. Especially impressive when they pulled it off all in the span of one regular length TV episode. That's a testament to how good the writing is and how incredibly well directed the episode was on the whole. As far as favorite characters, I'm firmly in the Kana camp.
I like her. I'm not sure if I get her deal yet. She's super harsh, I guess, to most people, but also has she's sort of like me in the sense of, oh yeah, my old self sucked ass and was just a dick to everyone. Now, she's like sucking up to people. But she's also like super blunt and harsh to Ruby and I presume most other people, but also like sort of just instantly is I guess more cheerful towards Aqua. I'm not saying it's illogical, but I'm waiting for the connecting thread that gets me like, oh, I get this character now. She's sort of just there now.
Well, so far her deal
and also
is
in love with Aqua.
Yeah,
that's her deal.
So far her deal in the show is that she's the we meet her in episode 1, where as a child, where she's the genius child actor who can lick baking soda just like that, and that's an incredible gif. I can't stop thinking about the lick gif that the anime itself just released on their own. But no, she was a genius child actor who started a thing with Aqua once as a kid and recognized his superior acting talent, and she was like, no, that cannot be possible. I am a genius child actor. There's no possible way that you, who has had no experience in acting beforehand, could be better at this than me. And she had already had a reputation as a kid for being hard to work with, and in the entertainment industry, it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you're an asshole, people are not gonna be willing to put up with you, no matter how talented you are. So she, as a result of this, even though she changed her ways, it was at that point it was too late, and her career took a hit. People started writing her off as a has-been, and that her career is like pretty much over at this point. And she took the lead role of this shitty live action adaptation of a manga, not because, well, she was a genuine fan of it, and it was a dream of hers to get the leading role as the main girl character, but also just because she wanted the lead role in something after 10 so years, and it killed her on the inside that all the other actors were chosen for their looks, because at the end of the day, the show was less a adaptation for the manga that it was based on, and more of a advertisement for up and coming young male models that they cast in the show who don't have any acting skills. And
I think they abridged like 12 volumes of the manga in 6 episodes.
Yeah, so yeah, Akasaka, like, he doesn't have any experience personally for having bad anime adaptations thus far, but you know he's probably had some friends in the industry who've had that happen to him, and he was like, "Hey, can I pick your brain on how it made you feel?"
Yeah, it reminds me of like that one scene from Imose where Haruto is like watching the anime adaptation of his work and his soul just dies in real time.
I think
one of my favorite scenes.
I think I mentioned it earlier, but we even see the soul of the in-universe mangaka of the TV drama. Her soul die on the inside when she's brought onto the set, because even she realizes, oh, yeah, this show's a piece of shit. And Kana's like, yeah. I want to bring my A game to this, but I feel like if I do that, the show's going to be made worse because I'll be the only good thing about it, and everything else around me, it'll just make everything, all the shitty aspects of it, stand out even more. Because if there's one good aspect of it, it'll make it sad to people. Like, oh, if everyone tried as hard as this, it could have been good. Which is exactly how I feel about and I'm sure you do too, Amaryllis from High Guardian Spice, who was like the one unequivocally good thing about that show.
Absolutely. And that all is really interesting to me and carried me through those episodes, as well as Aqua's scheming. He's a schemer. That's like one of his big personality traits. He does schemes to make sure his sister doesn't go back into the idol industry. He does schemes to make the scene work out better.
Bro spent 4 years trying to guess a phone password.
That
man is dedicated.
That. Yeah, that is some insane dedication. And that's more of what I thought the show would be going into it, but I'm not exactly disappointed that it ended up to be more about the showbiz aspect. That just happens to be also kind of a thriller at times.
Yeah, I won't lie and say there is a part of me who's slightly disappointed that the thriller aspect has taken a severe backseat, or more of a backseat than I had thought it would, given the content of the first episode. But I am not displeased with the show that I'm watching at this moment in time.
I mean, I guess the hang up all thrillers inevitably have is, how do you keep up the energy for so long? And it would be hard to imagine this show keeping that energy as consistently as something like Death Note, for example, which was just constant hype scenes.
Yeah, or like Erased, which I saw.
Well, I haven't seen that, so I don't have any.
One of these days,
reference.
I'm gonna get you to watch Erased, and then you're gonna spread it to your server.
Then I'll hate it just like Digi did.
Them show get you to see the light. As far as other things left to talk about, oh yeah. By the way, before we move on from Kana, she's a top tier cutie who I do want to have sex with.
Glad we got that out of the way.
Because
now
the number of screenshots,
full circle,
man.
you're gonna get canceled again.
There are people guy had my back on this one. The number of screenshots, man.
I mean, hey, I have your back on this as well. I'm just gonna say it right now. Digging both our graves simultaneously.
Although I will say, even though she's a top tier cutie, she is not the hottest girl on the show.
Who is the hottest?
That goes to the green haired girl. To Frill, I think her name was.
Nah, Kana's hotter.
Nah, dude.
Although I love her, I love green hair's eyes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say
her eyes so
dude,
much.
her eyes. Like, I was just like, green-eyed girl, green-eyed lady, sexy lady.
But okay, this is so petty and random. The pink girl, I forget her name.
Minami.
I don't like how she looks. And I'm not sure if it's the design or the searing pink.
I don't know, man. I saw a pink-haired G-cup Kansai girl, and I popped off.
I don't care about G-cups. I like them small anyway. But like, I don't know what it is about. Wow,
you don't say.
her...
The guy who made the Onimai video, who likes Onimai,
I'm going to shove you into the endless pit from Gravity Falls and make sure you never return.
While we're on the subject though, we stan a bisexual Ruby.
I'm genuinely not remembering the bi moment.
I mean, literally the first thing she does when she sees Minami
she's creeping over her green hair. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
and also Minami.
and literally Googles pink hair girl in front of her face, and it's like, holy shit, you're a fucking G-cup.
She's just sexually harassing this poor girl in front of her face, like looking up her cup size.
She's an dude. Imagine if that were a guy. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
You're not wrong, but yeah, I would have felt more sympathy for Minami if I didn't hate how she looks so much. I don't get why I hate how she looks so much. I just don't like it.
Maybe it is
she
a little
sears
too much
my
pink,
eyes.
but the pink
Chica
hair
didn't
on
look
pink
bad.
Eyes.
I know there's Akasaka stories with good pink-haired characters.
This is like hot cool. Pink. This is like very bright pink. Like, Chica is more of like a subdued pink.
Yeah, more like pastel, whereas this is bright neon pink.
Yeah, well, this show's got bright colors all around. Everyone's got like very bright shades of hair. Kana's hair grew on me immensely. I
do overall like how the show looks.
Yeah, the show production values are very high. And
higher than I expected them to be.
Yeah, the animation is not stiff. The hairs and the clothes are very bouncy. There's a lot of movement in the character acting. It helps
the
bring
facial expressions are so good.
Yeah, it's incredible. Pretty much around the board. It's a great looking TV show.
And with that,
let's see.
Anything else you have?
Did we talk about the actual versions of the opening and ending yet?
No, we didn't. OP good, ED is like fine. I like the animation and the art quality. but I skip it. I'm
Uh,
mostly here for the title card right before the ending, because that transition be so smooth.
I watched the ED up to the point where Ruby is like smiling and confidently walking up the stairs in tune to the music, because I just find that viscerally satisfying for some reason. And then after like the lead up to the chorus where Queen Bee is singing and like the I never seen such a liar, like the my love is lies, and they're singing about all the English stuff. When it gets to the chorus, I kind of tune it out because like okay, like okay, it's a decent song, but it's not the banger that Idol is.
The OP is great. I love the song so much. The only song this season that like from an OP that counters it is the Magical Destroyers OP, because I just love everything about that one. The visuals I am also a huge fan of. Once again, only rivaled by Magical Destroyers. I know you prefer the full music video in which they just used part of that.
Yeah, I still do, but the opening has the TV opening has grown on me a lot.
I just love, like, there's so many cool shots from it, like when Aqua and Ruby are shown with like the projector behind them projecting.
Yeah, and Aqua's like walks away because he doesn't care for the spotlight, and Ruby just soaks it up.
Yeah, and she like does that little like sticking her tongue out, just like Hoshino does. It's great.
Yeah, you know what I'm waiting for in the show that I know that they're gonna fucking do because it's too good. It'll be too easy to do cinema like this. There's gonna be a shot at some point in the show. It's gonna be like split down it's gonna be a vertical line down the middle, and it's gonna have one half of the screen be Ruby's face, one half of the screen be Aqua's face, and they're gonna do it on the sides of the faces where they have the stars in their eyes. And it's gonna so that way their whole face will both have stars in their eyes, just like I.
Oh, that would be cinema. That would be that now that you've implanted that image in my head, I need to see it.
The show will not be a 10 unless that happens.
Exactly. Overall, good opening, okay ending. Good show.
The last point I want to make is that I think that we as a society must band together and kill Mem-Cho.
Oh god, you just hurt Minnie's feelings so bad because he stands Mem-Cho so bad.
She hasn't done anything in the show yet, but
yeah,
she's a female streamer, which so I'm as a straight white as a straight male, I'm just predisposed to disliking her as a misogynistic straight man.
As a misogynist myself. It does seem like the kind of personality that I would inherently not find that enjoyable, but I'm holding out for her. No,
I mean,
I do like her little devil horns.
I don't care one way or the other. I don't think they. I feel for the purpose of what she's going for. I get the purpose of them because she's trying to make herself out to be a character, for YouTube. What I am looking forward to and see, or at the very least, how they're gonna go about it, and they better do it right. Is the opening teases that she's going to join Ruby and Kana's idol group, and they're gonna be the 3-person idol team.
Yeah, that might be exciting to see, although still not particularly hyped about the idol subplot yet, but we'll get there. We'll surely get there.
Yeah, the last little talking point that
you've said that like 3 times.
Okay, well, this time for real. I'll even we'll make this
like Chizuru saying it's the last time she's going to.
Oh, do you hear that? The outro music has already begun. We've already begun running the outro music. The show is about to wrap up. There's one criticism that I've seen go around of the show for newcomers, and it's that, does this show need to have the reincarnation aspect for it to work?
That actually is an interesting topic of discussion. Well, it doesn't really need it. The main in my eyes, the main thing that is like attempting to justify its use is that at the time that I was killed, there were like two, if they were their actual ages, they would be too young to like immediately start their revenge plot. So you kill
But how
I a
meta
little
would
later
it
in
have
their
been
life.
if the kid, if as a kid you're one of your parents got killed, and you even as a child you made it your mission to track down the killer and kill him yourself.
That would be meta.
Especially if the killer is implied to be your father.
I'm just not. It would also, though, come at the risk of being goofy. And I think it's a little easier for people to swallow that idea when they know it's an adult in a child's body.
You say that like that's also not a kind of slightly goofy premise.
Well, yeah, but that part of the premise is supposed to be goofy. Whereas, someone might find it a little silly how Edgelord McGee is actually just 6 years old, dedicating himself to finding this password every day. Although, even still, I don't think the show would be broken without that aspect of the premise. You could kill I a little later in their life, and then have it play out all the same.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you, outside of the perspective that the Doctor takes in the first episode on idols, and the whole thing about Sarina being Ruby being the reincarnation of the hospital girl Sarina, and how they their life was pretty shit because of their terminal illness, and she could barely stand and do all these things, but now that she's in a healthy, non-terminally ill body, she has the opportunity to do all of these things that she thought was once impossible, so she's running with it, and that's why she's so headstrong about wanting to be an idol. But then again, I suppose with like the whole dedication to I thing, and how much of an impact she left on them both as children, you could retool the story to just be about these two kids and the strong impression that their mother left on them, that they could take the identical paths in their future. Like, the Doctor could just have been killed, and then the story would continue as normal, and then, like you said, maybe kill I a little later in their lives, where it would be slightly more believable for at least Aqua to be enrapture himself in the idea of revenge.
Yeah, although the other question is, does it actively harm the show that so far the reincarnation aspect has not really been justified?
I wouldn't say it harms it, and at the time it definitely added to the intrigue of just like because it's like 4 different like premises stacked on top of each other when you're watching the episode for the first time. But I will say, as the show has gone on, it has not made the full use of its own premise, and I feel like the way it could go about that, or like to circumvent that, is I would have maybe made Ruby and Aqua aware that they were in fact Dr. Gorou and Sarina known to each other, and add like an interesting layer to their relationship outside of them being reincarnated brother and sister.
Well, you can't have that, because if they know, then they know they're non-biological. Technically, at least their brains.
Oh, their souls would be, but now their brains and their bodies are very much biological. Yeah. Also, he would be in his 20s to 30s, whereas she was 12. So
now the real reason why they can't have it is because it's, I guess, supposed to be a later plot point, because the reveal is inevitable.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as you have that plot point in, at some point they're gonna figure it out, and I guess it's gonna be like more explosive and emotional when it happens. I guess I mainly just like the reincarnation aspect because of the first impression. Although as the show, goes on, I do have to wonder, well, how necessary was it really? And how much did the first impression really affect the experience?
If I were to be as cynical as possible, and I don't actually believe this, but if I were to, counter try to find like the worst possible case scenario on either side of the argument. Maybe Akasaka took a bit of the hack pill and realized, hey, maybe if I add this element to my story, it adds like the intrigue to the hook, and then it'll get people like talking about it. But then I can like phase out it as a mechanic of the story as it goes on, because maybe it was more intended as a hook than like a primary mechanic of the story.
To be fair, even then, if you assume the worst of Akasaka, it would kind of metatextually wrap itself into the story, because it's about how you need to market yourself, and how you just need to have like this superficial hook of being hot or agreeable.
Like us, the most hot and agreeable anime podcasters on the entire platform.
You don't even know what I look like.
I've seen your hands, and I've built a very feminine 18-year-old persona in my head.
No. I'm never beating the allegations.
Never. All you have to do is go to the gym and become fit. That's all you have to do.
Someday I will get gym pilled, but anytime soon is not that time.
And if you want to help Crunchy beat the allegations, you can help him do so by subscribing to the channel, subscribing to his channel, down link below. Follow both of our Twitters. We're going full Oshino co-pilled. Don't send us any mean tweets. We will kill ourselves.
Yes, it's true.
I wonder if anyone's like done that. Like say, hey, don't send me any mean tweets. My mental fortitude is very brittle, and that they do, but then people do it anyway, and they do end up killing themselves.
I'm gonna fulfill that prophecy. I'm gonna be exactly like that.
Well, sorry,
so
you
guys,
heard it here
don't
first.
send any negative comments in the comment section, because I will kill myself.
Yeah, like the video, subscribe, leave comments of any type, accusatory or suicidal or not. That'll do her for this episode of the Castaway Anime Podcast. Make sure you stick around. We'll be covering more seasonals, including Jigokuraku next week and Heavenly Delusion the week after. We'll be coming back to Rent a Girlfriend. We'll be coming back to Bleach. We've got exciting things planned for the podcast, so make sure you stick around and tune in for when we do the conclusion of Oshinoko in like a month or two. That'll do her for this episode of the podcast. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Cantankerous Bread Pudding.
And you'll see us next time.
Alright, then I've got Google Translate Indonesian up. Selamat tinggal.